So my social media and my inbox has just been exploding all day because of the things that I've been tweeting and the memes that I've been posting using those tweets. And take a look at this here, folks, would you? My TikTok, which virtually is non-existent and barely even used. I mean, look at that. I've posted 4 videos ever. And the one that I posted just yesterday, using clips of the show, is already closing in at 1,300 views. Wow. How is that even possible already? The video that this was clipped from has received, at least at the time of recording, you won't believe this. I posted a video 2 days ago, 1,288 at this point, right? On the TikTok. Now, I posted a video 2 days ago, clipped it, made a TikTok from it, and received almost 1,300 views. The original video that this is clipped from, 9. So, if you follow me on Twitter, ChainsawCCC, or you simply just can't get enough of my tweets that are mostly either pulled from the show, or in this case, the 9-point plan, which was put together specifically for the show, then you might consider just coming on over to chainsawccc.com/YouTube. Smash the subscribe button. I promise it won't hurt. Watch it in loud and living color, right? We've got what you love and so much more over here at the YouTube channel. We broadcast 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, unless things get weird, and we live stream the January 6th Select Committee on the Trump riots over here as well. And if you're one of the nearly 1,300 people who are finding me on TikTok somehow, then yeah, definitely want to come over and see the full show. And the context of what you're seeing here, even more, and again, even more of what you apparently love over there. And again, don't forget ABS. No, that's not anti-lock brakes, but always be subscribing. And look, if you really, really, really love the show, and you love what we do over here, you might consider supporting us on Patreon by going to chainsawccc.com/join, or by going to patreon.com/chainsawccc. Either way works, goes to the same directory there. Consider supporting the show monetarily. Listen, we've got a great show for you tonight, this morning, whenever it is that you're actually getting it, however you're getting it. I want to talk about a kooky conspiracy theory that I've been working on here, or at least that's been bubbling up. And just to get that out of the way. So I saw this earlier this week, and it made me do a double take. Now, in light of the overturning of Roe and living in a very, very, very red state, I've been seeing and noticing folks talking about the opening of crisis pregnancy centers. Now, what are crisis pregnancy centers, you ask? Well, let's take a look at what they self-describe themselves as. Pregnancy centers provide resources. They say our amazing team of regular part-time volunteers are committed to helping others. We take our convictions and passion for life and turn them into action. Okay, great. Seeing a need for Christ-centered love. Education and support for women. Okay. And families impacted by pregnancy and related health decisions. We formed our organization to provide resources to help meet the spiritual, emotional, and physical needs of those in our community. Our mission, we are a Christ-centered, life-affirming ministry. Okay. Which envisions every person in our community choosing life for their unborn babies. So at least in this particular one that I randomly pulled up, it's one of those kind of places. Yikes. But yeah, well, so now this Vox article that I'm going to show you, well, I'm going to highlight, it's from 2020, but I think it sheds a little bit more light on how these places have operated pre the SCOTUS decision. And I mean, just the description itself should say everything you need to know. And you know, then we'll talk about some of the things that I've been seeing lately that have been a little unnerving. What crisis pregnancy centers really do. Low-income people are going to centers for basic services. They don't always get what they need. Sometimes called a crisis pregnancy center, the facility's primary mission is to dissuade women from choosing abortion. Well, that's no longer a concern these days now, is it? Can I bring that up here for you? Of course, they're going to show that guy. See, the inner workings of pregnancy resource centers don't always get a lot of coverage in the media, and unless they've visited one. Many people don't know much about the facilities, but they've been a subject of major concern among abortion rights advocates in recent years. I can only imagine why, from the description that they offer. Because such centers have been found to give misinformation about the risks of abortion. Some advocates feared that the centers inappropriately interfered in patients' decisions around their pregnancies, preventing people from being able to choose or obtain an abortion. Most of the 21 patients referenced in the article, who later went to a prenatal care center, had already decided to continue their pregnancies when they went to the resource centers. They visited facilities for basic necessities, ultrasounds, diapers. They were expensive or difficult to get elsewhere. In many occasions, the patients did get help at the centers, but some resources came with strings attached. Free baby clothes and other supplies, for example, were only available if patients took workshops or classes, some of which had a religious component. Well, obviously, that last one we looked at called itself a ministry. Some women found the required instruction troubling, with one saying of a parenting video, "It hurt me." Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, the patients spoken with and referenced in the article, most of whom were low income, also had major needs that could not be met by pregnancy resource centers, from food insecurity to homelessness to high-risk pregnancy that required specialized care. It's not necessarily surprising that the centers couldn't help women with these problems. It's not really what they were designed to do. But in recent years, states and federal government have been increasingly positioning the centers as social safety net providers, shifting money toward them and away from other facilities that actually provide a wider range of services, like family planning clinics. The Trump administration, for example, last year barred groups that provide or refer abortions from getting federal family planning funds, but awarded a grant to a network of pregnancy resource centers in California. Great. Pregnancy resource centers, as they exist today, first began appearing in the 1960s, after states began liberalizing their abortion laws, according to Heartbeat International, which identifies itself as the country's first network of such centers. The spread increased after 73, when the Supreme Court established America's right to an abortion in Roe v. Wade. Today, there are over 2,500 such centers across the country. In general, the center's goal is to encourage people to carry their pregnancies to term rather than having abortions. For example, Heartbeat International aims to make abortion unwanted today and unthinkable for future generations, according to its website. Great. Mission accomplished, I guess. Heartbeat's affiliates around the world offer a range of services. Some pregnancy resource centers provide pregnancy tests, material aid, diapers, clothing, etc., while other pregnancy help medical clinics offer limited ultrasounds, STI testing, and prenatal care. Said Andrea Truden, the group's director of communication and marketing, in an email to Vox. Some also offer financial aid courses or mentorship for couples. Pregnancy resource centers have been criticized in the past for ads and website copy that made them look like they offer abortions. In fact, they do not offer the procedure, and research has shown their websites often include misinformation about its risks, like the false claim that abortion is linked to breast cancer or mental health problems. This has led to concerns that the centers will trick people into believing they offer abortion, then dissuade them from the procedure with false claims about its dangers. All of the women in the study were deeply concerned about their ability to materially provide for their new baby, and some went to the centers, at least in part, to get baby products like clothes. They had baby chairs and bouncers. Services and baby products weren't necessarily free. These items didn't cost money, but they typically came with strings attached. Namely, the pregnant people would keep coming to the center and participating in programs. I went to a parenting class once said, when you go, you watch like 2 movies and you learn 5 center dollars, or you earn 5 center dollars, and they give you a list of things they have that you can shop for. A point system is common at pregnancy resource centers, Truden of Heartbeat International said. It encourages continued learning while providing practical items for the family. She added, many parents find this to be a great benefit and love the fact that they can provide their family while learning life skills. The fuck? But in the study, some women described the classes as unpleasant or upsetting, while respondents did report that the counseling they received was religiously inflected. Said it wasn't necessarily the problem. In cases, the women were religious themselves. In one case, however, a woman was shown a video with explicitly anti-abortion message and was angry that the center presumed she was seeking an abortion. Another woman felt hurt by a video because it reminded her of her past trauma in life. In some cases, the need to show up to appointments in order to get resources caused problems for women. One respondent, Caitlin, told researchers that the Pregnancy Resource Center scheduled her appointment for a time when she was supposed to be working. Desperate for the resources they offered and believing that attending all of the center's appointments was important to the health of the pregnancy, Caitlin missed work to go to the appointment. Caitlin was fired, and she and her boyfriend ended up losing their apartment because they couldn't pay rent. Jesus Christ. The findings underscore what other researchers have found about pregnancy resource centers and their offering. While their services may not cost money, they're not necessarily free. They cost people's time and energy. In general, the products the women reported getting were relatively minor, like prenatal vitamins, a water bottle, or baby clothes. All the women in the study said the visit to a center was a positive experience. Many were grateful for the baby items they got, even if they weren't necessarily what they would have chosen. One thing the centers did provide for respondents was places where their desire to have a child was supported and encouraged. That's significant because low-income women, especially women of color, are sometimes actively discouraged from having children, including by their healthcare providers. However, the centers are not truly safe spaces for emotional support for many people of color. Black people who visited pregnancy resource centers have told her that they faced racist assumptions about things like income or whether their fathers are in their lives. They also said she sometimes heard the increasingly common anti-abortion message that abortion is a conspiracy against black people. That message implies that black women are not able to make decisions about whether or not they want to keep a pregnancy by themselves, she added. That it's just outside forces and we're not smart enough to understand what's best for our lives. In 1996, Missouri and Pennsylvania began to allocate state funding to pregnancy resource centers. Other states began to make similar moves, like Louisiana, which began devoting some of its budget for temporary assistance for needy families, meant to help low-income people with basic needs, to programs offering abortion alternatives, including pregnancy resource centers. And we'll talk a little bit about Louisiana coming up here. So basically, that's the sick and disingenuous stuff that these kinds of facilities, these ministries, are up to and have been up to for decades. Now, with all that in mind, I've been seeing folks posting on social media with regard to the SCOTUS ruling that one of the many things that you're not supposed to talk about for the sake of hurt feelings is kids in foster homes. Because, of course, the natural reaction to something like Roe being overturned is that, well, a lot of unwanted pregnancies are going to end up with kids in the system. It's just the natural course of things. It's the natural reaction. It's common sense. It's very real. But of course, for the sake of hurt feelings, and I get that, I do, not to sound cold and callous here, I get, for the sake of hurt feelings, that some folks might suggest that we don't talk about that because of the people who have made it through the system, you know, survivors of foster homes, survivors of abuse in foster homes, survivors of abuse in the system in general. I mean, we could talk all day about that in and of itself. Now, with all that in mind, I saw someone posting about the number of kids in foster homes and the rate of adoption and common practices, the experiences that those kids have, and what happens when the kids are for lack of a better way to describe it, returned. And then I saw someone comment about one of these facilities, and the services that they provide, and how because of all of the, knowingly, and this is someone working at one of these facilities, and because of knowingly all of the unwanted pregnancies that will occur as a result of this SCOTUS decision, and the massive influx of children that will be put into the system, rather put on the lists in similar facilities. Someone else had commented about how they would be willing to personally pay any fees for anyone who wanted to adopt one of these newborn babies that will inevitably wind up listed, for lack of a better way to describe that, at their local facility. Now, I've seen this person post these kinds of things before, and, something about it, I don't know, just didn't really sit quite right with me. And maybe that's just the ominousness of how these places function. And, but then there was a bit of a back and forth between, those two folks, the one who had posted about the facility in opposition and in support, in opposition to the SCOTUS ruling, and then the person who was offering to pay any fees, so they could, show up and get a baby, I guess. There was a bit of a back and forth, and the second person, I guess, kind of sounded like that they were offering, acting as like a baby broker, and she told the other person that it sounded creepy and fishy and similar to a similar idea to those places opening up to sell babies or something. And then I realized why it seemed unsettling originally, because that was exactly the impression that I got. It seems strange that these kinds of places are just suddenly just popping up all over the country, especially in rural areas where this sort of service never really existed before, just in time for the SCOTUS ruling. And now we have people who are connected to those individuals, either through the church or some other place in the community, offering money for the fees involved in purchasing your new baby. I don't know. Okay, obviously I am not the only one who felt this way, because it seems like the other person who was offering the cash might have had a similar state of mind, because they deleted their responses and some of the other posts that I'd originally seen regarding the matter, so that wouldn't actually have that to show you here. So I guess that could be taken as an admission of guilt at the very least, or just of the sliminess of brokering forced birthed babies from an organization that, for all intents and purposes, is a ministry. I don't know. Look, let me know what you think in the comments. I just felt weird about it, and apparently everyone else involved in the conversation did too.